Hello, everybody, and welcome to another SpyParty Summer Cup 2023 cast. I'm your host,
Hello,
Grash,
everybody,
and welcome to
and
another
I am.
SpyParty, joined by Slappy Davis
Hello, hello. Happy to be here.
and Hornet.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Gresh. Thank you so much for taking over the hosting duties today. Yeah, so as mentioned, today we are going to look at the quarterfinal matches of the Summer Cup 2023. Um, so the matches we're going to be looking at today are Miniorek versus Beanie and Guggy versus Max Snacks, which just so happens to be the entire left side of the bracket. So in the first match, we see Miniorek and Beanie. So Beanie has had a pretty solid run so far. Had a pretty convincing win in the previous round over the actually the higher seed in Verdurus. Um, yeah, so Beanie, kind of has that reputation for being, a green test monster, which we know can go a very long way into making games very winnable. The only problem is that his opponent today is this ominous presence that's been lurking on this left side of the bracket, Miniorek. Uh, Mini is the scariest opponent on this side of the bracket, I want to say, and I don't think anyone is, super happy about facing him right now. And in his classic fashion, he's just been winning all his matches by convincing margins. However, I do think Beanie does have the skill required to pull off an upset. But yeah, Slappy, how are you feeling about Beanie's chances in this one?
I think it's like so part of us is always going to be like, oh, this person, longtime competitive person has like, decent shot, wouldn't be surprised. Like, let's just be clear, it would be a big surprise. Beanie is a very high quality player, but it would be a huge upset. And so if we saw it, I would want to put it in that context of this would be a big upset. It would not be like a sort of impossible upset, like someone just came on the scene and would be toppling one of the top players. It's just that Beanie's been very consistently like really solid but never really broken through super far. So it's the kind of matchup that you would really expect to go one way. But really what I'm interested to see is if Beanie preps for Miniorek, because I just really curious about that, because I would say that is one weakness I think in Beanie is Beanie doesn't prep per opponent. But I think that the difference in like attention and skill in this matchup and just like familiarity with the game, just playing enough, I would love to see Beanie whip out Minioric specific strategies. That's kind of my take.
Yeah, that would absolutely make for an interesting set, and I think it'll show throughout the set if that is in fact the case. Um, And with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the venues. So the venue pool is going to be exactly the same as the previous round with one big difference. That difference being that each of the players get a double a venue, which has a couple consequences. One, it means 9 wins are now needed to secure a victory. And kind of an interesting note, the venues are still played in order. So if you double something that comes earlier in the set, that could actually end up being a little bit of an advantage. And if we want to just go ahead and look at the doubles for each player, looks like Mini opted to double Redwoods, which, I'm not sure if that's something that Mini commonly doubles, but I do think it's a really great pick. I think that is a venue that plays very well into his style. And Beanie doubled Modern, kind of an interesting choice, maybe not one of the more common doubles. And yeah, like I mentioned, that comes like very late in the venue order. So may or may not play into this. So any thoughts on the doubles, Slappy?
So I think that I'm surprised Beanie really likes Ballroom, so I think that that's going to be useful for him there early on. Pretty good in gallery, library is just the thing. Um, I think Redwoods is the correct one to double, not even just because it's a strength of Minioric, but I think it's a weakness of Beanie. And Beanie's really solid on Modern. Here's just my guess overall. Beanie has really good bugs and looks at Ambassador a lot. And so Mini might be also just looking all across the map for a whole bunch of chaotic stuff. And Beanie is very good at just like getting just enough by the opponent and just trying to get their mission count off. So these are maps that I could see that happening. I don't know what to think about Terrace though. Other than that, Terrace and Library are the ones where they stand out as like I think those are just going to be splits between the two of them unless something goes wrong. But yeah, no, just really curious if again if he brings out some match specific plays.
Yep, absolutely. And Yeah, now that we've taken a look at the venues, let's go ahead and get into the match. So it looks like we're going to be kicking things off on Library, and Beanie appears to be spying first as Smallman. And let's
Well,
go ahead.
sorry, hold on a second. My SpyParty crashed when I tried to upload this or no, get into this replay, so we're gonna have to vamp for just a second more and get all hyped and stuff because I have to load back in. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
no worries at all. Yep, as soon as you're ready. And already something to talk about is Beanie, hitting that Smallman button right off the bat. Yeah, I mean, Library, it's like kind of funny enough. It doesn't really feel like a venue where Smallman brings up as big of a threat as he does on other venues. Like not as many things as to hide behind. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really think of is like pillars, but really a height doesn't really make a huge difference in those either. So kind of an interesting choice. Yeah,
I
we'll
feel
see
like
if it,
I feel like the one
yeah.
interesting thing about Smallman on Library 2, besides like Pillar Tech, is one big advantage of Library that's interesting is that it is one of the venues where large characters can block swaps, right? But I feel like Smallman, being so small, can sometimes get like cheese, green, or white swaps behind the big CCs. So you have like some fun cheese there too.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. Yeah, that and also the fact that he has those like really quick time ads, and there's quite a lot of places where you can go and sneak a time ad in as well. So that could also play into things. And I don't know, maybe just taking advantage of those quick animations. But yeah, kind of an interesting point on the swap. So I don't know if like maybe just the sniper is going to be less worried about him doing swaps or what the case might be. Like maybe it might make him a little bit better for like a cheese swap type of situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I for some reason my SpyParty is being really slow on launching, so hopefully I don't have to do something like a restart because for some reason it's just not popping up. So checker, fix your game. If only there was a patch to fix this and add a bunch of content that would drop right now, that would be great. Um, uh, the other thing that's also just kind of fun is picking Smallman first, right? Just going right out of the gate for it. A lot of the times there's like this meta around when do you use Smallman? You kind of like lure people in, false sense of security. Don't go for like a hardcore cheesy game until later. I like the idea of just going for it now. I think that shows honestly it shows respect for Miniorek, which I think he kind of needs to in this regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, kind of an interesting, like you mentioned, Beanie just being that like solid, consistent player, but I feel kind of the same way about Mini. Like you kind of know what you're gonna get when you face him. Like he's not really having those big swings one way or the other. And yeah, I mean, the thing is if you want to win on the spy side, you do need to like do something different. Like you can't just play a standard game and expect to win. So I do think Beanie has something up his sleeve here. Just remains to be seen what it is.
Yeah, I super agree there. And not only against Mini do you have to do kind of a non-standard game, but you have to like get non-standard bugs. I feel like Mini's like Amba camping game is super on point. Like, I feel like one of the best players at noticing even really good bugs.
I'm gonna see if I can. I think it's actually Steam that's giving me problems, so I'm gonna see if I can open it from outside of it. Um, so we'll see. Might still be a second in here.
Okay.
Okay. If you want, Crash, you want to swing back over to that bracket?
Yeah, sure. Why not? We can always talk about the other side a bit too.
Well, what were the paths for these players?
Yeah. So let's see here. Yeah. So let's see. So Beanie, I think, yeah, he had stumbled a bit in groups in one of his matches. I think, yeah, he dropped one to Psycho Sloth and won the rest of his remaining matches, and then he had like a pretty strong, I think something like maybe like a 7-2. It was either like a 7-2 or 7-3 victory over Verdris. Um, Miniorek, I think he had just won all of his games. Like, I don't think any of them were even particularly close. So, not too much to say. It's kind of heartbreaking that Starzy had to immediately run into Miniorek in the first round. Starzy, new player, exciting player, like awesome. like awesome player, awesome caster. I wanted to see him do a nice little run, but Miniorek is like sorry, like when you hit Miniorek in the first round, just not gonna have a good time. Um, yeah, and looking, kind of on the other side of the bracket, the other side of the bracket is absolutely terrifying. Honestly, I think if there was ever a side to be on, it's this left side of the bracket. Uh, yeah, like there's just no easy match. Like a Dafayesh Lev, like that could be a semifinal match in itself. Rav and Crash, that could also be a semifinal match. That's scary. Crash, we're all gonna be rooting for you, but Rav is the other kind of big scary that you gotta
Rob is
get
Rob.
through.
Yes.
Yeah. Like we all love Rav, but I mean, sorry, you kind of have to pull for when you got David versus Goliath, you kind of just have to pull for Crash here. So
True.
yeah,
I would certainly consider myself a far David. Or yeah, so
but not just saying that because you're here, but you've been like on fire lately. So if there was ever a time to pull it off, this is kind of feeling like it. Um,
got the
All right,
dream.
I am now ready. Thank you for your patience.
Oh,
I had to
hype.
bypass Steam. So actually, I apologize, Checker. If you hear this, you won't, because I don't think you jumped at the cast that often. It was Steam's fault, not your fault. Bypassing it and SpyParty worked.
all right,
There you
and
go.
let's kick it off in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, the long-awaited Kate taking control, and then we are following Ambassador a little bit. And right off the bat, here's what you were talking about earlier: really fast time add, and we're actually using the speed of the watch check to try to just add time and then go directly back into motion so that we're never even seen at the window, which is the most possible. We might go for a bug here, but no Ambassador redirects.
Yes, and interestingly enough, you mentioned prep, and I think Beanie knew that Minnie likes to go through a little routine at the start of this because I don't see any lowlights. Or actually, I'm just now seeing a single lowlight, but I don't think that had anything to do with the time ad. So I think this was just a clean time ad. Um, the only thing is like it's still a 5 mission venue. There's still a lot to do. Like, is it really gonna have a huge effect on the match? That remains to be seen.
Is this briefcase legal? I don't know if that was far enough. I'm just trying to feel out that space where we were at, what was it, Blue Bookshelf? And it didn't feel far enough. I could be off on that. I was right on the edge.
Yeah, I don't know. No reaction from Minnie, so like I think he might have had an eye on Beanie taking that briefcase. So I think either way, I think we got away with that. Got the fingerprint in hand. Joining up the double agent quite early. Quite a lot of people out. I don't think we're really going for contact. I think Beanie might have something else in mind.
Yeah, and we don't even have that option anymore as we're going to be setting in here. And we do have enough of a space around us that we're going to do it, but even with the time ad, I mean, just it's just library. 5 missions is just so much when you're just being in the face. So I consider this to be a very standard opening, except for the green time ad. We're gonna end up having a bit more progress than we would if we were just going slow. Library is just tricky in this regard. Are we gonna? So okay, we're in the position where if somebody else comes in here, maybe Cowboy, for example. No, not quite. Where we could dip out into the side statue, swap, and then leave, but there's just not enough cover here, I think. But I think that's what Beanie wants to do. Buns is not going to be enough cover. And also, we're kind of in the spot where I think Miniorek, I think, is just instinctually going to be watching Smallman near this, if that's what we're hoping for. But now we've just kind of hung out here too long. We are getting a drink offer. Very curious if we see that. We do not go for a purloin, and instead we are going to banana bread when Double Agent comes back in here. And I'm going to guess we're going to split if we can.
Yeah, so just kind of interesting note. So yeah, I mean one, Beanie putting that green
Banana
test to
bread.
use or that green test rate to use, getting that early 51% flirt. I think that's kind of part of the reason that he's comfortable with like this kind of slower pace because just knows he can probably just two flirt this whenever he needs to. Minnie, interestingly, like you would think he'd be camping the ambassador pretty hard like he was earlier, but he's very was very closely watching the middle and the right side, even though Ambo was all the way over on the left. And he's kind of hitting a lot of lowlights. I think these might be pathing lowlights. So yeah, as this gets a little bit later, we're gonna kind of become a bigger suspect just from this pathing routine of Mini.
Yeah, and right now what we have is so we were playing for a potential low light, but I just don't think we're gonna like a ditch two statues in a suspicious spot as Smallman. It's just the low light's probably not gonna come. Maybe you could get away with not being credited for banana bread, but I don't think you're gonna get a low light. And I think that for library, you're going to need kind of more than that. The other problem that we're going to run into is that getting the second fingerprint and presumably inspects is going to just really send our suspicion way up. And then we're going to try to track whatever other kinds of things we have. We're starting to get to the point now where we are getting we're getting cast members, not cast members, we're getting AI out to the statues and being swap threats. And Mini is very concerned with swaps that are coming off. Um, so we are going to finish up here. We do get we're going to gulp, but no shot. We're going to finish up the inspects. The suspected agent's not going to ruin our inspects. We're watching swap very carefully. We are looking away from so much. We see just enough that I don't think we're going to get a shot here. We might actually. We might get a shot here. Nope, nope, nope. He sees the swap hasn't happened yet. We do hit the green swap, and I assume we're going to try to pick up a fingerprint while this is going on, but it's going to be a tough sell. We're going to be distracting. And unfortunately, there's no briefcase available when we would like to be getting done with something right now. And I guess we're going to try to grab a book. But like, it's just it's not going to stack up right. There's the swap. And
Yeah,
we'll
Mini is all over this. I think like you could just feel the burn of that laser on that statue visit. I think the problem is like I don't know if we really did anything to drive up that much suspicion, but we're just like Mini just has that mission count, and we had the most done. So yeah, I mean, just that's really all it takes for Mini. Didn't even need that fifth mission. Well, actually, it looks like we did get that last fingerprint right at the last minute, but yeah, Mini looks like he had him dead to rights even before that.
That is actually so. I didn't realize that we the difficult was still on the bookcase. So actually, good on Beanie for getting a finish simultaneous with the swap, just in case somebody picked it up and just like did a full block on it. Like if we got lucky and General picked it up or something, and then like we just could not get a view of it for the full 10 seconds. That'd be real nice, but ends up not working out. And I would say just kind of a standard shot, but decent attempt from Beanie.
Yeah, and I do think that's what he was aiming for, with just hoping the AI would get the proper animation, but didn't quite work out with Tex, holding it out to the side for Mini to see. And let's go ahead and get into the next round. So it looks like Mini will be spying as Teal in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I'd say Mitty's actually one of the better players at taking quick shots that don't overthink it. They have a shot in mind when they are prepared, and they actually like look for where they're gonna be. Um, so plays like that are gonna be trickier versus Mini because I think that Mini is. I think just because by the nature of being at the top of basically sniping, people are going to try desperate things against you more often, and you're just going to get comfortable with those sort of like reaction shots.
Yeah, and Mini kind of an interesting one on the spy side. So yeah, kind of settled into that innocent combo, but I think what it looked like is, we're just waiting for ST. Um, He's kind of an interesting one to watch on the spy side because, like, usually he's not really forcing things, not making anything like any plays that are too out there, too crazy. Just kind of making that steady progress, and like almost like playing like mind games with the opponent sometimes. Like sometimes he'll play like the same spy in half of the games in the set, or even more, which is kind of interesting. But it makes you wonder if that kind of gets into the head of the opponent sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we're gonna hang out here for a bit. I was gonna say we're gonna go for something like the ambassador, but we're gonna do a fake banana bread. We're gonna ignore the
Banana bread.
test. I'm actually curious about what we were aiming for here. Was that a misclick? It kind of swing. You have a lot of camera movement, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a misclick because it wasn't an amazing banana bread. That's for
Yeah, I
sure.
feel like that kind of let off some valuable lowlights. I have a hard time believing that was intentional. Like the only reason I could see him doing that is he was in a very small combo, and like if he's fishing for lowlights against someone who does that, but at this high of a level, I don't think Beanie is gonna take lowlights for fake or for
Do you
assumed.
Right. I agree. Although honestly, trying a banana bread fairly early on library is not the worst idea. Just faking, just because it throws off the normal rhythm of how spies play. Spies almost always try to take the banana bread with like 90 seconds left, 2 minutes left. After they finished flirt, they've probably gotten partial inspects, partial prints. Maybe they have gone and really tried to do like a traceless bug or microfilm, but they've done a decent amount of stuff because it's just pretty easy to get a banana bread on library. You have a lot of time, and there's not that many spots that the double agent can sit into. That said, they can take forever to path, and that can be annoying. But it just feels available a lot. We're gonna green time out right as we're getting offered as well.
Yeah, kind of an interesting note too is I think we only took about half of the available lowlights, so I think Beanie was surprised by that BB and probably thought that Mini was up to something, either hiding a hard tell or doing a split, and just didn't feel confident in taking the full lowlights. Um, and yeah, that kind of feels like Mini is getting away with a little bit too, so got away with that, green time ad as well. I don't think any lowlights are going to come from that. And we do hit a green purloin, so let's see if Beanie's been tracking this list.
Yeah, Minnie stepped
Banana
over
bread.
into the sneaky spot. We're gonna banana bread right as this comes off, and this one's gonna let off more lowlights, but it's going to hide the purloin pretty well. Like honestly, that fake banana bread actually was pretty good now. Wait, we're just gonna my bad. Um, okay, so obviously shot comes off, and I think that Beanie just let paranoia get the better of them. Like I feel like we had enough time in there that a banana bread distract purloin. Well, I mean, I guess if he has inspects done, let me make the case for twin.
I think this is maybe a little bit nerves because he heard the contact and immediately was like this time like, okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and take these lowlights. I don't think he considered the fact that he was trying to distract from this list, and I think the
Banana
fact that he
bread.
didn't see the fade just kind of put him in an awkward position. And just yeah, I feel like this was maybe just like a little bit of nerves, a little bit of self doubt, because I don't think Twin was even, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Twin was in this chain. Let me take a quick look.
No, I think
It
Pearls
may,
took.
yeah, well, no, Pearls took. I think we started the chain. Yeah, I don't think there was any reject chain before us. So, yeah, maybe just, yeah, just maybe a bit of a tough situation where he thought that like Twin had been offered right before Pearls, but just yeah, just a little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, and actually, it's interesting that that twin was out of conversation for contact, but that contact actually really worked out for us because we took the couple highlights in front of us when that went off, and we were actually really focused in on Queen at the time. Like I think we were just having trouble parsing, or we were protecting Ambassador. Like we felt like it was a fake to slip a bug by us, and then I think we just felt behind the rest of that game. So well done, my mini. Like, I think that again, they didn't think they intended for that first fake, but then the purloin was very nice. Just found a good opportunity to sit back, grab that green purloin, and then do a contact at the same time. Put a lot of pressure on the sniper.
Yep, yeah, well done for Mini. Yeah, just kind of showing that just making some bold plays can just pay off sometimes. And yeah, with that, so Beanie will need to sweep at least a venue to get things tied back up. And we're going into Ballroom, and it looks like Beanie will be spying as Pearls in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I think the main thing I want to see from Beanie is a bug. I think that sometimes if you're playing a sniper that you feel is extremely strong, you just stop trying to do bugs. And I'm definitely guilty of this. But Beanie's a good bugging spy, and we are going to go for a transfer. It doesn't look like we're going to get caught for it. It looks pretty well covered. Um, so I think we're going to be okay for it, which is very lucky because it could have just been instant death if there wasn't more going on.
Yeah, usually that white animation is enough to get you killed, but I think it's kind of funny because in both games, Beanie has gotten away with I guess what could be considered a hard tell, like in the very early seconds of both venues. So I think maybe he just yeah maybe it was kind of the prep you're talking about. He knows that like this is his window to get away with something. The problem is you still have to do another one, and The other one's going to be, a little bit more visible depending on how the conversations pan out. So that's something
Ooh,
something we do have to worry about. Oh, I like this ambassador
Banana
positioning though.
bread.
Um, Really, I feel like, yeah, like you're saying, like a bug. I think like getting a successful bug would be great for our confidence in the rest of the match. So probably, something that would be very good to aim for.
I'm curious. So that banana bread didn't let off too many lowlights. So that part worked out well for us. We are in a conversation with a suspected double agent, unfortunately. I also am not sure, not 100% sure it was intentional, which would be interesting if we had multiple unintentional fake banana breads so far. But what the odd thing about faking, and I'm trying to figure out if I feel it's good though is we still have another microfilm on the back end of this. And typically, what you try to do in those instances is like really keep as much visual pressure on the sniper as possible because you just need them to be looking away from you just entirely. And it's a very slow thing. Like you don't even just finish when the animation happens. You still have like more time to do it. You're not gonna do it. We get a low light. Oh no, we don't. All right, I was gonna say maybe for this conversation tree, which to me looks like we're cramming in there. So I was very surprised to see that.
Yeah, I don't know if like maybe it's just some weird angle thing that Mini looks for
Banana
where
bread.
he just it's like, he just really liked
Banana
the angle he
bread.
took into that conversation. And I don't know if it was for the just a good briefcase. I'm not sure if that's something Mini would really low light for.
Oh, it
Either
was.
way, it's been brought back up, so not really worth dwelling on. Oh, and we hit a green purloin, so let's see if Beanie's gonna have the same luck that Mini had in the previous round.
Yeah, and Minnie's or sorry, I'm curious how much of this Miniorek anticipated. Hearing two banana braids go off in quick succession usually indicates something like a purloin's going to happen
Oh,
because you were
weird.
trying to hit the first one.
We were taking a ton of low lights, which just means we are very on top. Oh, and the white, yeah, one white, one white transfer film is one thing, but two, not surviving that, especially as one of the only neutral lights in the game.
What almost worked out, although I mean I guess Minnie's gonna look for it because he did narrow down and there was like we were still taking the rest of the lowlights. Ah man, if we were like just a few seconds earlier and that like Minnie was really focused on narrowing the party, and if we're able to get that passed, that would have been a really interesting problem for Minnie to solve, would whether or not he'd be able to shoot for the last flirt if it was green. We were gonna have time problems kind of no matter what, but one, I'm curious if after the second contact, where there's the two back to back, if Minnie was especially on the lookout for a purloin because it was just a chain of interesting events. But honestly, it's the kind of thing that can just throw him off. So I like it. It was not a bad play. The sequencing with the microphone was a little strange to me still.
Yep, and with that, let's go ahead and get it to the next round. So Beanie, really probably needing to hold here on the sniper side, but not if Mini has anything to do with it. Spying as boots in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And now the more I think about it, what I really would have liked is if we were trying to do a microfilm right as the Perlin was going off, you know. But we kind of sequenced it so that we were going to bookcase as the Perlin was going off. We're going to take a quick flirt here. We're going to bail out to the windows. We're going to try to put as much spaces between us as possible. So not only we're going for the lack of the pair at there, I think we're going to just go back in here, take another quick flirt, and then try to rush something down if we hit the green. And we do, so we might see a rush here.
Yeah, I kind of I like seeing Mini kind of take a page from Opie's book here with the just instant cheese flirt, finishing seduce right off the bat. Um, yeah, kind of setting himself up for a potential rush. I don't know if rushing is really in Mini's style, so to speak. I mean, I've seen a lot of his games. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not too many games where he rushes, but it wouldn't surprise me too much because Ballroom like is kind of one of those venues that's well suited for it. Um, but yeah, now with that, we're kind of just spending some extra time with our S team when we don't really have to. But I think maybe just kind of keeping an eye on the ambassador, seeing where he's going to leave us some prints, and just kind of just seeing what finishing avenues we have.
Yeah, and what it leaves us open to. So the nice things about rushing down flirt, which we haven't really used that much yet, is that we can avoid conversations for a long time. So we can do things like spend lots of time at window, kind of like and like setting up for bugs.
Banana
This
bread.
contact's gonna go off. It is not bad, but we're in the only conversation with real, but there's a ton of us in it. And we could try to bug on our way out, which I think we are going to do. Yes, indeed. We're going to bug on our way out. Beanie, if you've watched any Miniorek games, that is a super Miniorek bug. So I would hope for a shot there, because that's just a bug that Mini likes to do often, and a lot of other players, but just bread and butter for Mini.
Yeah, I was almost gonna comment that like, it's a little unfortunate because we're in that range where like you can almost bug through the combo, but it's like just slightly out of the range, so you can't. But Mini had an answer for that. Just wrong arm bug on the way out. Um, and yeah, now we're here center statues. So if we were assigned any bug credit, I think you have to take the shot unless you're
I
just
think he
not
will.
giving
I think
clear
yes,
credit.
he will.
And he does find it. So that's actually a very impressive shot from Beanie because it tells me one, you credited that bug, which I mean, in my opinion, would probably be kind of hard to credit. Um, you you give him credit for having finished flirt already when there's still like a minute left. So very very good, very confident shot from Beanie.
Yeah, and like that, it's funny. Like if I have played a player enough times, so I've like researched a bunch of their games. So Beanie have actually played in competitive more often than I normally would, having not been in a only one league with Beanie. The lineup on the shot was very much like Beanie's pre-shot ritual, and so I was super excited because he's timing it out. He's giving credit for the bug on the way out. Um, and just giving credit for the fact that this is how Mini would want to finish, not try to like give ourselves more time with trying to wait out for another flirt, right? The timing is there. Great shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Very very needed shot to keep Beanie in this as well. So good on Mini keeping the pressure up, and good on Beanie to not fold under that pressure. So let's go ahead and move on to gallery. Beanie will be spying as Sari in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And we've been three slow characters. I mean, Smallman's not as slow as White or Sorry, but we've had kind of slow games already. Gallery is like, ooh, we are gonna ditch out of here, but I don't know. Well, we'll see if we actually get any kind of problems for it. If we get a highlight and Twin doesn't, though, it's going to be a big indication. But so far, nothing. So actually, it might have worked out just fine. And we're going to have this nice early inspect done. One thing I definitely will give Orange, though, is that we can do that all in one cycle. We are gonna. Are we gonna swap this statue?
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting decision because I don't know. Like if I'm one cycling, I'm not coming back to the same set, but that's an interesting choice. No, just kind of just acting like an AI would. I don't think Mini's gonna bite on that, of course, but yeah, I mean, interesting decision. And joining back in with our ST, already got
And
that
that
51%, got that inspect credit, or actually got full. I'm sorry, got full flirt completed. 2 games in a row where flirt is the first thing done, which yeah, I'm really not used to seeing. And yeah, so like here's the thing on gallery, finishing inspects can be kind of scary. Like I feel like it's hard to do that without getting shot for it, but I feel like at the current moment that is gonna be part of our path to winning.
this has been an interesting game. One from uh, the three people in a row touched the farthest back statue, and Minnie was paying a lot of attention to
Banana
each one of
bread.
them because it felt like there might be a BB, or sorry, there might be a purloin chain there. Man, with that banana bread, unfortunately, that amplifies the number of highlight, or sorry, lowlights we've already gotten. Um, he already had a bunch of highlight, or sorry, lowlights before that banana bread. I'm gonna guess from just pathing around the doorway, but I actually was not paying enough attention. So we're actually getting closed in on a little bit. And importantly, there's no highlight. And if we go and finish up in specs, we're going to be super grilled. We're going to request a drink. So I am going to guess it's not the best time for it, but I think we're going to do a purloin. And unfortunately, it's going to be white. I was like, I think we want a green purloin finish in specs and then just see it be done. Um, well, we'll see how much with fake highlight on plain twin, which is interesting. Um, I think we saw that Twin wouldn't have been in that chain, though. I don't actually know where Manny's head's at.
Yeah, Mini is actually not looking super confident, like through the sniper scope right now. Like you would think, like okay, white purloin, I'm just gonna shoot you. Like
Banana
like he already
bread.
had 2/3 of the party low lit at that time too. So you would think he kind of had this narrowed down, but I think like some other guests were doing things that he would consider suspicious. Yeah, and he just highlight Boots as well, who I think had been to the statues at least once. So yeah, doubting himself, but I guess the question remains though, like how do we win this? Like how are we getting a fourth mission in this situation?
Yeah, right now I think the temptation is gonna be Beanie's gonna look for a bug, and if there's no bug, probably ditch out to statues. So we're probably gonna take one shot here where Ambassador's gonna come out. It's not gonna be on the path that we wanted. Uh, if we don't leave soon, we're gonna be obligated to pick up briefcase. We're gonna probably go to statues and just finish in specs. No, we're avoiding it. Well, unless we curve around here at the end. Nope, we are going for that bug.
Yeah, this is. I think we were kind of waiting, just hoping one of the guests were gonna do something that would cause a civ shot. Um, oh, we're actually
Dude,
dancing here. I think
oh no.
that's kind of an interesting choice. Like I feel like it was kind of one of those shots where Mini like didn't feel happy about taking it, but I think he just had to. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. Maybe the right decision to dance a little bit, like just like okay, I'm gonna die, but I'm wondering like if I'm wondering if we were still gonna get shot though if we just just continued as normal.
Yeah, I feel like Mini was that actually so that was actually a really solid bug for being like the only thing that Mini was watching at that time. We did not have a view on the snapback at all. And so Mini was placing the laser there for consideration purposes, not for lining up a shot. Being interpreted as lining up a shot, and then left, right? So I don't blame Beanie for starting in that moment to do the dance. But it was going to be really hard to dance for 6 more seconds. Oh, I guess 5.5 more seconds by the time the shot come off. Actually, no, 4.4 with the lag. So that was going to be tricky order to do it as Sorry on the front with only basically uh, Cowboy and Seek in between us. But it was probably going to be a shot. I feel like Minnie was going to feel pressured to do it because we were at what overall just in the game we were at 10 seconds left in the game and no one else was doing anything and lining up for anything. I think we would have just waited for a second. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
I admire it.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely with your assessment. I just like from Beanie's perspective, he's like, okay, I hit a white purloin. If I do anything, I'm just dead. So like, he just it was just kind of a bizarre game where like even though he white purloined, like the sniper was just still confused. So a little unfortunate, but with that, let's see if Mini can, or I'm sorry, let's see if Beanie can hold on the sniper side, and Mini will be spying as Disney in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so that one actually was a little bit closer than one would expect. Oh, we're gonna get this dirty flirt here at the very, very tip. That is excellent. Beanie might have seen it, which would be very useful. But as a feeling, we're not gonna care because it's super unlikely to be able to get that right to be able to be near your seduction target. So it just doesn't feel like the kind of thing you can kind of force very easily. And seduction target comes to us. It's not gonna be enough for a two flirt, but and we hit the white. So we don't quite get the truth, but like we have amazing progress in here, and we are going to use it. That is a lying briefcase. That is not a briefcase your character is actually going for, but Minnie's just trying to do lots of little things in order to get back in that conversation in a minute here, I'm assuming, and then never go into a conversation again except to contact.
Yeah, kind of like an interesting theme in this set is, these players are taking advantage of those early game moments to get away with something. Like I was wondering if he was even going to be brave enough to go for a time ad, but
What
I
is
do think
Orange Dress doing, by the way? Sorry to cut you off. Orange Dress is just so far in this conversation. It just looks so awkward.
I completely agree. This is like AIs can naturally end up here, like usually like in the very early seconds, when everyone's kind of colliding off of each other. But at this point in the round, like it should be suspicious. Like I don't know, I would almost be like paying extra attention to Sorry, like thinking like a human player just messed up their pathing to get
Green
there.
Purloin. Mini. Oh, but Sorry has a drink. I don't know if we actually saw. So Mini, I think intentionally stood behind Orange. Sorry, right? Because okay, the Purloin's gonna get taken. Do we notice that? No, we're shooting. I mean, Rocker maybe was in the chain there. Uh, Weird turn of events. Let's rewind and actually see what was going on there. So Rocker did walk through the conversation circle in a way that was kind of weird. So I mean, a drink got taken in between is the weird thing to me. So that rocker, we just didn't have a clean chain because actually right after General took is when the purloin started. I was assuming because we were trying to really confuse Beanie about Orange Sari. I think we intentionally made Sari stand out by just us standing behind her and making her look really awkward in that position. And then I thought maybe we were go okay, maybe we were trying to frame a green purloin from the middle here, like Sari thinks she's hidden, but she has a drink in her hand, and then the character that's at the statues that actually should have been cleared by General taking a drink gets shot. Just a weird one.
Yeah, I think maybe a lot of it just came to like, okay, like you just pat through the entire convo when you didn't need to do that. Like sometimes AIs just do very strange things, and I think it'll just draw the attention out. But yeah, tough luck from Beanie on that one. So now has to sweep 2 sets to get back into this. But double Redwoods, um, kind of a good venue to start making some plays on the spy side. So let's see what Beanie can do as Teal in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I'm glad that Beanie is playing teal because I think Mini will play teal on his game of Redwoods, at least one of them. So just fun to see on that one. And we're just gonna go for these immediate. I think these are good ideas. The immediate microfilms. I think it fits well into Mini's routine. I think, like you kind of called out earlier, I don't know if that's from prep or just good adaptation to the game, but I think Mini doesn't really seem to be looking for that as much. And to be fair, I mean, if you don't catch one of them, you still have the chance to catch the other one.
Yeah, and honestly, if you ever were like prepping, like for this map specifically, like I mean that angle that Mini's holding, like wouldn't have ever seen the transfer unless he's panning over like the perfect opportunity. But the angle that he was holding or that he is holding now, like really isn't going to catch that. So I mean, like the only thing you really need to wonder is where you're going to do the other microfilm, and it looks like the answer is right in this corner, which actually Mini has a perfect view of it right now. So I'm getting a little scared for beating right now.
Yeah, I actually agree. Especially, well, we're zoomed in for a second here, but I think Beanie's not going to go for it, and he's going to move to another position. Yeah, okay. Beanie kind of correctly is able to parse out where Mini's laser is. So I think it looks like we're just going to do a normal return. We're going to get our other inspect while we're back here. Um, so a little bit of an odd thing is I think that we're completely invisible on
Oh,
this transfer.
yeah, we were perfectly behind that tree. So we just completely got away with this mission. And if there was ever a round to win, this is it. We got clean transfer. Like the only way. So I mean, the only thing that Mini can have is just okay. We've been to 2 bookcases. Like that's the credit that we have, right? So we need to find another statue, and then it's really just flirt and contact, and there's flirt done as well. Like really
Oh,
good pacing so far from Beanie.
are we just gonna go for this? Minnie's watching it, so I think we're gonna see that Twitch.
Oh no, that would be tragic with the way that this has gone so far.
And I think Beanie, unfortunately, is all right. If I am, if I know I've been highlight for this, your best option is a contact, not going for the inspect. Silent game is going to be so tempting right now. But I just think that if we have that suspicion, okay, we are going to go for the contact. I think we have to wait for a bit
Banana
though.
bread.
Oh, we're just going immediate
Oh
ram here
no,
though. That's actually kind
like
of good. I actually think that's not bad, but we are going to eventually take out the shot because I like the instant banana bread. I think that that is very smart. That's very counterintuitive, but actually suits pretty well. Like the it does not feel like how we spy would play out the rest of that. Like it's weird. It's a weird decision to make, and it's kind of gutsy. And it might make it seem like something else was happening for us to do it immediately upon entering. So I do not mind that. Obviously, I think that for us being able to parse out, or sorry, to suss out that we were being watched for the book at Windows, I think we needed to notice that we were being pretty well watched for the bug there. But also, good on Midi for catching it. There's not that much of a twitch.
yeah, a little tragic. I think maybe if you get that perfect twitch, then you can only give credit, but nothing more. But I think maybe Mini did caught that we twitched that tiny little bit. Yeah, I don't know with the contact, like me being like a slightly lower level player, I'm thinking okay, you should wait a really long time and then contact. But I think you're right. Like maybe kind of some mind games there with doing it right away. That was that looked like such a good game to win, but yeah, a little unfortunate. So let's see what Mini can do on the spy side now. We'll be spying as Taft in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Taft, maybe not a character you see on Redwoods all the time because like generally picked for his speed, but this is one of the smaller venues. But not
He
that
does
really. Go ahead.
he does blend in at the fireplace. That's one of the things. And
Yeah,
Minnie likes that fireplace.
yeah, that's kind of a good point. Like I never really think of like who just kind of naturally like blends into the environment. And yeah, that is kind of the case. So yeah, something that I don't often think about, but yeah, I mean that is a very good point. Um, but yeah, Mini kind of taking a slightly different approach. Like Beanie was very good in his pacing. Mini kind of taking the other approach, just gonna kind of take things slow and see what happens. Ampa joins right next to us, and yeah, we do take an opportunity to do a twitch. I think maybe the hand was slightly visible, but I didn't see how that looked from Beanie's perspective.
Yeah, and so Mini, the difference for Mini right there is one, it actually is going to be really hard to see. I was actually surprised that Mini didn't take the bug on entry. It felt like it was going to be pretty covered from Beanie's angle, so that one felt safer, and the twitch felt like if we were zoomed in. So the differences there are Mini was zoomed in preparation for the Twitch bug, where Beanie was not, and so it was way harder to see the Twitch actually happen. So just kind of like a difference in defensive posture for the sniper, and so far it seems like it's paid off. It is not paying off for Beanie in that wider perspective.
Yeah, and one thing I'm kind of realizing now is like while it might have been visible if you have like a head-on view, snipers are always like kind of taking that left angle. I'm sorry, that left angle where you're looking slightly to the right, which makes it basically invisible from the angle that Mini had. So I think we just got a clean bug. And looks like the other option is gonna, yeah, probably just be inspects here. So just taking this, getting a fingerprint as well. So actually opening up quite a few doors. Could even like a silent finish could even be in the cards.
Yeah, and we're not going to take the delegate. I don't think we ever would. We'll see if the low light comes back down on us. Uh, uh, what was I gonna say? There was something about the way that this game is shaping up that reminded me of something, but I can't think of it, so I'm gonna have to come back to it. We are gonna have the ability to do a inspect. Ooh, very curious if this is a fingerprintable statue. Have not been paying attention, but yes, it is. I would say he moved at this statue like it was fingerprintable. Um, so there is going to be a finish here. There's a quick put down, but this is another instance of Beanie having good instincts on the shot, though. Just I feel like just knew that the threat was there. Like again, I don't think we saw that bug. I remember what I was gonna say. Uh, uh, Normally, if there is like this really threatening bug position, snipers will really go out of their way to rotate until they could see for the characters near Ambassador, arms stick out, right? Makes sense. But Redwoods, one of the things I like about Redwoods, even though it's a difficult map for sure, is that snipers will actually sometimes say, like, normally on like any other map, I would rotate to see this bug, but I can't afford it on Redwoods because it's meaningful. It actually hurts to take rotations because trees sliding over your vision just like are going to systematically block a second of like every single character on, and you're just like giving up a lot. And I love that about Redwoods. So actually, both players when they're a sniper chose to hold their angle, but again, Beanie not zoomed in, not seeing as much, and Mini zoomed in at the time, and then just good finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, great spy game from Mini, and yeah, really quality sniping from Beanie. So, as mentioned, this is the first double set that we'll be seeing. So we get it around, and let's see what Beanie can do as queen in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And also, we are gonna get this. I feel like that bug was seen. Yeah, there it is. Okay, this game's over. But other than that, yeah, that's just instant bugs on Redwoods to me are one of the worst instant bug groupings. To me, they're often able to just be seen, and also just there's just lots of good bug opportunities. We just don't need to do it. Now I know that's like a reaction, can't really help it. Like you're just like near, and you're like, oh, it's the beginning of Redwoods, just bug. It's the thing though is like on Redwoods, the first few seconds are among the less threatening per rest of venue seconds on like a value basis, so to speak. Like the first few seconds on let's say gallery uh, is more important because like if you get away with something on gallery, it's much more meaningful to throw off the mission progress. Where Redwoods, there's a lot of like instinctual shots and feeling like you've caught part of their mission progress. So even if you get that bug, you may not even win. As opposed to gallery, like you get a free bug, then honestly, if you just inspect contact and seduce and they don't have any suspicion of it, you're probably just gonna win.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you say that because like when I saw the bug, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like this, this is incredible. It's gonna shift the tide of this round. But I guess the more I think about it, it does kind of make sense to immediately camp the ambassador. Just my thoughts are like, okay, this is a venue where like on top of your like early game routine, there's also just trees all over the place. So what are the odds that you're really gonna catch this little arm and what looked like an okay bug? Like it was kind of like one of those collision bugs that are kind of hard to credit, but yeah, seeing that from Minnie's perspective, like he just kind of had the perfect angle to see like the arm like was a little bit extended, and maybe even that bookcase entry was just a little too awkward. So yeah, I wanted to give Beanie a lot of props for that, but yeah, unfortunately, I think he is just kind of a dead man walking in this case.
Yeah, and again, like it's for how the microfilms were well adapted to Miniorek's warm up or just like starting routine. I think that Mini just kind of looks a bug first every single game. Even and again, besides my kind of like general feelings about Redwoods being a map where you don't need to take a stab like that can just get you shots because like if you again you do that on a map where your chances of winning a spy are just relatively low, um, yeah, totally. But on Redwoods, you just have plenty of opportunities for both bugs and for other things to go your way during the game. So to me, that's just an instinct. I can't really blame Beanie because I don't think that Blaney thought that out at all. He just near ambassador, near beginning of game, take bug.
Yeah, and
Me in
so
the
that being
red.
said, we are well, okay, we were in a situation with three missions. DA bails on us. Sniper takes a shot, and yeah, I think kind of said all that needs to be said about this round.
I mean, to be fair, I actually should give Miniorek a little bit more credit where uh, we did find a good angle on that bug. That was like it is only basically I felt like that bug was easy to catch only because I was watching Miniorek's screen, right? And Miniorek was placed well so that he could see the bug. I was like, okay, we definitely caught that bug, but that's because he was able to get the correct angle on Ambassador pretty dang quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely a skill with being able to properly find those good camping angles. And so yeah, let's see what Minnie can do in this next round. So it looks like Minnie will be spying as Bling Twin in three, two, one, playing it.
I often get that, by the way. Every once in a while, if I haven't played in a long enough time and I just cast too much, I'll think I'm a much better sniper than I am because I'm constantly, oh, we sneak the inspect. I like that. We instantly got a shot. Hey, good job, Beanie. And I really like that we just take the instant shot for it. I do. Beanie's actually his sniper's actually been doing really well today. I just think that his spy has just been just a little off. But like he's on Beanie for or sorry, he's on Mini for most of the sniping. It's just been the couple of breaks that Mini's gotten.
Yeah, and I mean, as someone who's like nowhere even close to these players' level, like they're blowing me away with these shots. Like an instant bug catch on Redwoods and an instant etiquette break on Redwoods. Are you kidding me? Like, what are these shots? Like, how are you seeing all these things? Um, I think Mini or I'm sorry, Beanie just like or paying really good attention to those bookcases since you can get a lot of mission progress at those. So I think that's part of the reason why maybe it was just a little more focus on Twin. I think he was already thinking like, okay, Twin's here. Let's keep track of that. And it's like, oh wait a minute, Twin's not there anymore, and yeah, takes the shot. So very impressive. And yeah, with that, we are done with the doubled Redwoods, and we're gonna move on to Terrace. So definitely a change of pace here, some 3 of 7, and let's see how that works out for Beanie, spying as Red Dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I have a little pitch for people that do that move at the beginning of Redwoods. Instead of trying to bail away from bookcase, bail to the statue you didn't inspect, and then you'll be credited with one inspect and you can side inspect. It's a cleaner way to do it. It does mean you'll be seen with an inspect, but if you do it quickly enough, sometimes if the spy's only paying attention to the people that were standing there, sorry, spy. The sniper was only paying attention to the people that were standing there. Sometimes they'll misremember that you were just always at the statue pad waiting to pick that up because it'll look no different than waiting at the book pad, and it's a quicker shift. And anyways, I don't. I would have done basically the same thing as Mini in that situation because it looked like Beanie was gonna be swinging around. But I love that tech. I love that little. That's like one of my favorite little things in SpyParty is the stand in front of bookcase grab inspects. I think it honestly should be a option for every single statue in every single map. I think you should be able to inspect without picking up and just do that and get caught on a cheese if you get seen. So I'm just excited to see it because I just think it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, Terrace, yeah, as I mentioned, like definitely a change of pace. As you can see, Beanie, as it would appear, not much has really been done, but like you can just feel that he's paying very close attention to this party and just thinking, okay, who is frameable? And I think the answer to that question is Alice. I think she may have just picked up her second print because I know Ambassador left a print at the bar, and I assume that that briefcase was still printable. Um, Question is, so do we? Oh no, and she gets a low light, so forget about that whole train of thought.
Banana bread.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I'm
Taking pretty nice
curious.
contact though.
I'm curious if Alice did a pathing thing there because there's actually a good read on Beanie play. Uh, uh, it is unlike Beanie to go for back-to-back fingerprint stuff like that. Like it just Beanie would rather wait, get partial progress, and get a great bug than just like fingerprint your face right at the beginning. So really cool low light if it's behavioral and like takes off a high level target. But if it's etiquette, I also respect that, but I don't respect it as much. I want it to be behavioral.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend to like really know Mini that well, but I feel like when he's taking a low light, it's because he knows that's not the spy, and not because like, okay, you're behaving weird or anything like that. Beanie's in a tough position because like I think he just really needs the AI to just go create. Like he needs Sorry to finish up inspects. Like that's really the only other like the only other real person who could be finishing at the moment. I don't think anyone has any like realistic bug credit or anything like that. And it looks like I don't know. I think we're just forced to time out here.
Yeah, agreed. We got nothing, and we are indeed just going to timeout. Which is a bit of a bummer. Is that is that last game? I don't even know. No, it's not last game.
Uh,
Okay,
Playing at 9, so I think there will be at least at the very least one more. Um,
so
yeah, I
to
think
say
me.
it makes more sense as like a last game. Sorry.
My opinion is
Yeah,
pathing, but I'm not positive as far as Alice low light.
yeah,
Gotcha.
maybe that entry was just a little too good. I don't know. Yeah, a little demoralizing for Beanie because like I think once you get to this point in the game, like you're like, okay, I need a little help from the party, and he's not really getting it right now. So yeah, a little tough because yeah, I think he was just kind of like just hoping, like for those frame situations, and they just didn't quite work out. So but he can, of course, keep himself alive in the set by holding on sniper, something that's usually not too difficult to do on Terrace. So let's see what Mini can do as Kane in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I have to say, I know Beanie could do better than that last game on Terrace. So I say this in a way that is respectful of Beanie. That I'm not a fan of that last game. I mean, obviously timing out is never awesome. But we timed out in a way where we just like it wasn't even close. We didn't give ourselves any options. We didn't even give ourselves like a solid frame. I do not think we can expect just an unprompted shot to come from Mini very often. It's been like a reliable thing when you just didn't take a stab there. So I am hoping that we. Ooh, that's a nice buck.
That was
Uh,
such a nice bug. I think like the only way you can really track that is if you're just looking at the way like the face changes during the bug animation. Yeah, so I mean, Beanie being as good as he is could have credited that, but I
Banana
don't
bread.
think we're really getting looked at right now.
yeah, no, I agree. I think this is going to be just a quick little dagger of a game. I think we're just going to walk over there. Let's see. We're gonna wait for one more animation maybe from Seek before committing to walking over there, just so we don't get messed up. Although actually, no, we'd have to cram ourselves in there a little bit. Okay, never mind. That's not a concern. We're cramming ourselves in there, and we would just love to get that green test and just force this down really quick. And I think this time, even though we've seen Beanie hover, oh my God, I'd be so nervous I was Mini
That
because like
laser
the
is
laser's
burning. Yeah.
moving, yeah, just like moving across our top of our skull back and forth. Like Mini probably felt like we were in danger in that point because so many other times during this set we've gotten shot in the waning moments of a mission win countdown. But yeah, the bug was excellent and too flirting with a quick banana bread, just too hard to shoot for.
Yeah, and that's quite the exclamation mark to to end that set with, because spy wins like that, like I want to say they just don't really happen that often on Terrace, and like I think that might have been like somewhat of an explanation for the last round with Beanie. I think a lot of people just look at it as like a sniper handshake, like at the higher levels. They're like, okay, you're gonna snipe me, I'm gonna snipe you. We'll move on to the next venue. But Mini, no, he's like, if I get that bug opportunity, I'm taking it every day of the week, and I am finishing right away and seeing if you can take the shot. So, yeah, well, I think Beanie might have been debating whether or not to take the shot. It's a really hard shot to take, and yeah, well done in the set for Mini.
Yeah, and the part that's a bummer is that Beanie actually was guarding that bug really well up until that last part. Beanie was keeping space so that if when Ambassador was coming in, if Minnie took a wrong arm bug on the way inside, we would have seen the arm. We were zoomed in to make sure there wasn't a twitch bug. And then when Ambassador started moving, we just moved in the wrong direction for our arm because the arm
Banana
was
bread.
very slightly visible, but our eyes were already moving towards the other direction. So good on Minnie for basically taking the correct bug out of the bugs that were there, not trying to do a Twitch, not trying to do a bug on entry, and then just getting the right bug out of that situation because Beanie was ready for the other ones.